As the governors were working to wrap up this annual conference, politics continued as one of the major concerns. It's largely below the surface, but occasionally carries what's known as a high profile. This morning, for example, when presidential candidate Hubert Humphrey met with Democratic governors. Senator Humphrey emerged from that meeting with apparently the lion's share of gubernatorial support, despite having run second to Senator George McGovern in the California primary. Humphrey, like most of the governors at the conference, denies there's any Stop McGovern movement, and he says the Democratic Party cannot afford to ignore the candidacy of George Wallace, and that the party must keep Wallace within it instead of forcing a third party.
I said this because I believe it. I also said it because I'm afraid that if we do not stay united as a party, that we cannot succeed in November. And for me, the main objective of our efforts is not merely to win primaries and to get delegates, but to defeat Richard Nixon.
At the same time, governors were getting it together to wrap up this conference. In the final session, unanimous approval was given to recommendations on child development, rapid transit, environment, crime reduction, and federal-state relationships. Those relationships are pretty friendly right now. After Transportation Secretary John Volpe spoke, he drew applause by telling governors federal highway funds will now be available on a yearly basis instead of every 1 to 3 months. State officials figure this will give the people a chance to plan highway programs more efficiently and farther ahead. So they're leaving Houston today in an optimistic mood. Bill Reynolds, Channel 8 News on the Move at the National Governors Conference in Houston.
The question of voting discrepancies
Well, in my opinion, I think so. I think there are a lot of different ways of doing things, and certainly no one way I think is the only way. But I'd have to say I feel like that the wishbone offense presents the biggest problem for a defense in that it is balanced, it is mirrored, and through the use of the triple option, it does threaten 6 points along the line of scrimmage, which means defenses are forced to play you balanced and be able to defend a wide front. And I think the consistency aspect of it is certainly ahead of most offenses.
Well, Coach, by installing the wishbone, don't you think this is going to put pressure on you to produce a miracle team at A&M?
No, I was telling the group the other day, I've always felt like I work better under pressure, and visiting around the country, and you're talking about this type of effort, but I feel like that the former students of Texas A&M are going to present real ideal working conditions over there for me, from the standpoint of working under pressure. But I don't think there's necessarily mean there's going to have to be some mystique about the success of our football team this next fall. We hope to establish a good, sound offensive football team. It's going to be built around the wishbone principle, and I think we've got some good athletes, and maybe not in numbers equal to that of some other schools that I know of that we're going to be competing against, but I think we've got some good football players, and I think we'll be a respectable offensive football team.
Coach, is your feeling for the wishbone?
And most of the waste in Tarrant County has been going to unapproved private sites. And we intend to find these sites, and they can either become registered or cease doing business.
Well, it seemed that way for a while before we came on this road trip, but since we've left Milwaukee and Chicago, we haven't done that well. I think we've dropped probably 4 out of our last 5 games.
We also understand that Mercer's hitting the ball real well, and there seems to be a feeling that some of the other guys are going to catch on and start hitting pretty good, and this might be real good for the ball club.
Yes, Bobby's number 3 man, I'm the number 4 man in the order, and it's been kind of imperative that we're the ones that really have to do most of the hitting if we're going to score a lot of runs. And starting with the series in Chicago, Bobby had something like 11 hits his last 13 times up. I think the whole club as a whole has been hitting well the last 4 or 5 games. Actually, we had 18 runs in one game in Chicago, and I think we had 8 or 9 in a game in Milwaukee. So we just have to put it together with the pitching at the same time.
Jerry, I think it would be one of the answers. Presently, there are approximately 400 prisoners in the Dallas County Jail on appeal that have been adjudicated by the courts, and if these prisoners could be transferred to a regional correctional facility, would certainly relieve the jail of approximately 25% of its capacity, giving the facility more room, more in line with what it's designed for, and possibly give the present Dallas County Jail an opportunity to develop more programs within the jail itself.
Responsibility will no longer end at the plant gate, at the property line, but rather until the waste has been properly treated and properly disposed of so that no adverse environmental effect occurs.